I am back. So today we are going to look into a couple of the progress that we have added for the Mauler, which you can see on my screen, and also a bit of rigging as well. I'm going to do the rigging live in this session, so we can take a little look in it, and we'll be using advanced skeleton. So let's begin. So a couple of progress that has kind of came through before, after the last recording. I don't have this recorded or live streamed, but I could just run through like what I was done back then. So I was trying to experiment a couple of like this gameplay biomasses or lumps that is visible on the Mauler. And from a gameplay perspective, it will be the player will need to aim for this biomass. And once you hit it on the spot, it will burst and then eject more biomasses on the floor. But that in turn also weakens the Mauler. So the gameplay will be something that the Mauler will be like a tank kind of crawling towards you, and then the player will just have to play offensive, right? And also defensive at the same time. That's the intent. But anyways, coming back to all this, I basically added a lot of this geometries to place the biomasses. So one of the example would be something like that. So if we do a duplicate, for example, let's show this. Let me bring this out. Can I move that mess? Yeah, there it is, right? So this is one of the mess. I'm just gonna move the pivot here so we can translate it. Right, so it's one of those messes where I basically sculpted a lump and then I'm just placing them more strategically around the body parts. So in this case, maybe what I would do is, let's say if I want to add one along the spine or around the waist area, I'll be adding them like that. Right, so now we have another kind of gameplay biomass for the player to target, right? And there's a couple of kind of iterations that is needed. For example, like on the skin, we'll have a couple more lumps to help with the blending. That's first, right? So I'm just doing like a quick run up so you don't have to watch the whole thing again. And all the other messes are kind of applied the same way, right? Just placing it there. I did do a bit of cleanup to make sure like the back face of the mask, the mess are not kind of like full volumes, right? So if we take a look at this one, and if we kind of drag it out like that, you'll see that the interior shell, it's empty. So we are just only using the geometries that we need. Those that are hidden are not feasible, or they are completely deleted. And then the other piece is a remesh that I did for this character. Right now it's really basic because I am just trying to export it out of Maya. I want to rig it as soon as possible, test it in engine, do a bit of playtest to see if the current size of the biomasses and this character's size and scale is working. So I'm not too keen of holding myself back on getting the details right. For now, it's just like if you can see a human, pretty obese guy with biomasses, then the intent is complete, right? So we don't have to spend too much time on that. But to do this remesh, I also have to clean up the wireframes. The approach that I always go with is to use polygroup. So if we take a look at the wireframe, I've polygrouped each individual sections of the body. And let me just turn off the biomass so you can see them, and then kind of clean the geometry up so that each individual section has a correct designation of color, right? And when we are doing the Z remeshing, it will take the polygroups into account. So meaning if we do a Z remesh, keep groups, right? It's going to maintain the color separation and give me wireframes according to how I distribute it. I think it's something that if you guys are interested, I'll also make a tutorial. I do believe I made one in the past, but I can make a more dedicated one for the Mauler if you want to. But in this case, you just have to know that the polygroups are created using masks, and then after it's remeshed, it will look something like that. right? And the poly counts are greatly reduced. Like it's a much healthier poly count compared to this one, which is a full Dynamesh, right? So this is not suitable for any export out of ZBrush. So yeah, right now I have the biomasses, I have the character, and we will swing into Maya. So in Maya, I have imported the character, right? So this is the exported version from ZBrush and now imported into Maya. So roughly you could see that the geometries are representative of what I said, a guy that you can see the limbs, you can see that he's roughly obese, and all the lumps that are placed at the respective locations. And these are the same kind of mess where we were cleaning up just earlier as well, right? And then now I'm also scaling it up to about 2.5 meters. As I mentioned, it's about like a normal person is about 1.8, right? Around that height, or close to 1.9 if the person is tall. So this Mauler is slightly bigger, right? So it's about 2.5 right now, 2.5 meters. And I'm using advanced skeleton, so I have it installed. I'm at this stage here where I am inserting the base rig so that I can position the joints position with the molars ratio, right? The proportion. So yeah, now I'm gonna maybe talk less, and you can see the live stream of me just doing this, adding these positions for the Mauler. This is the shoulder bone, right? And we want to be quite careful with where we place it. So I'm just going to go into the front view. And position is usually where the tip of the shoulder and where the armpit is, right? So if you draw a line across, it's somewhere around that position. So we are slightly further in. We want to pull that out. And then we have the elbow, right? Usually I'll go into object mode as well so that I can translate it along its axis. The elbow is slightly further back too. Right. The clavicle, again, as I've sculpted earlier as well, the clavicle are these bones, right? So I'm looking for those visual landmarks as well. Let me turn off the wireframe. These ones, right? These are the clavicles. These two bones here are the clavicles. So if you come back to here, the details are not strong, but you can see that these are basically the bones. And we want to position the clavicle somewhere around those positions. One of the tricks because right now if I want to move the clavicle, the rest of the bones will move. So you can also hit D or insert on the keyboard, and you could just move that bone without moving its children. Right? So that's also something you can use to refine the positioning. I usually don't spend too much time positioning the bones to its perfection because again, I always do them in passes. So we know that we have to come back later anyways, and we should quickly get into the pin reading and testing of animation before we come back and refine the bone position, because we will be certain to find things that we want to improve on that isn't working right now that we would like to change. Right. So this one, I'll just do this is not an object mode, so I want to rotate based on the bone position. And I think the whole live stream kind of format is not so much about like editing the video so that you get like a very succinct video or content. The live stream is more about, you know, watching things going in progress, right? As I mentioned, like nothing is scripted. I only have a rough idea of what I want to go through, and if it's worth doing a live stream, I will do it. So yeah, we will definitely face problems along the way, and we will solve them along the way as well. So hopefully these are kind of educative for you guys to learn and pick up. Right now when we are looking at this, like I'm kind of used to seeing this, but if it's kind of confusing for you, there's just way too much wireframe, and you can't quite tell the fore, mid, and background from each other. You can just hit 5 and come back to the shaded mode. But this itself, that means you can't see the joint, right? But there is this mode here where you can click on this, and now you can see through the skin and see the bone, right? So it is less confusing. If it's working for you, you should try that. You can also see that the digits are kind of all blended, right? Over here it should be separated. The fingers are not webbed, right? Like a duck, right? They're supposed to be individual digits. But for now, as I mentioned, it's really rough. I'm just there to test animation. The finger animation is not extremely particular at this point in time. Like facial animation and all those are really not the key aspect, right? We are testing gameplay, making sure that the biomasses and the overall proportions are working. Then we want to come back and refine it. So again, work in passes so that you don't hold yourself up for too long. I'm concerned with the rotation of the finger bones. This ones here that I'm placing, even though I'm was saying that we shouldn't spend too much time. But the rough position that we are placing now, it's like if it's 50% there, then you know the rest of the work that we are doing later will be 50% less, right? So it's not exactly redoing from scratch later. So it's kind of still worth doing it properly, but not perfectly. I think that's always the sweet balance there. I can see that the bone is kind of sticking out of the finger. That means the orientation is kind of wrong. So let me just rotate it back in. And always moving your camera to check like if you have it positioned at the desired location. Right, okay, so again, not perfect, but good enough. Like right now, I think if the also like the number of bones that is kind of overlapping, it's also again confusing. So what you can do is do a shift I, select the skin as well, do a shift I. Now you can kind of focus on just this bone, right? And the rest are still there, it's just that it's hidden and your view is no longer that obscured. So again, all these are tips and tricks that I think will be helpful and useful for you guys if you're watching. Right now, I don't have an audience doing a live stream, but I don't know. I'm just hoping maybe one day somebody would watch it and be helpful. If it's not, then so be it. Okay, and then now I can undo. I mean shift I to unhide, and then now let's do the other finger here. Shift I again. Shift I once is to hide, and then shift I again is to unhide. So yeah, now I have less bone to kind of look at, so it's less confusing overall. I do teach in a university, so sometimes I do direct my students to watch these videos. So yeah, anyways, I think that there will be people consuming this content. It's just how massive of an audience I reach. Okay, and shift I again, and everything's back. So I've got all the fingers down. Let's look at the root bone. The root bone is usually around the waist area near the end of the spine. So yeah, it's somewhere in this position already. So I think it's okay. Maybe slightly too high, so I'm just gonna hit D and come back down. If you don't hit D when you move the entire chain, right? So hit D or insert on the keyboard. That allows you to move things in its isolation. Okay, for this one, I want to move the whole leg out. Sometimes when this bone is too deep in, you tend to have a little bit of a messy clipping and positioning of the geometry. So I usually would like to align this bone to the heel, right? So like if we draw a line from here to here, it should be kind of roughly over that position. So something along like that. Right, and then the side view, again, we can also do a shift I, so you can see things in isolation. This position should be okay. The hip bone should be around where the start of the femur is, right? So there is a very long bone here for the thigh bone, and it should be kind of positioned around there. Okay, so right now we can position the ankle. The heel is where the leg is gonna do like a back roll. So this is that pivot position. So I would say maybe somewhere around here, so we can pivot around that. And then this toes would be here. Let's rotate it down slightly, and then this is where the toe is gonna do like a bend when you're walking, right? So the toes bend when the heel lifts up. Let's do the check on front view. Yeah, it's I always like to sculpt my character in a more relaxed pose, so they don't usually have their toes pointing directly forward. It's slightly flat out, so we also need to compensate that by moving this here. Right, and let's just check the heel position. I think they all look good. The sides here, the pinky toes, it's where the feet can do a little bit of a rolling, and that rig will be also provided by Advanced Skeleton. So it's just something that you want to consider as well, so that you can position it correctly. Right, I'm gonna do a shift I. We've done from the my usual flow, clavicle down all the way to the fingers and down the spine and then down to the toes, and then we come back to the head. Right, so this is the neck joint. You could see like this is the neck joint. So this is technically the start of the neck, but it also looks a little bit too deep in. Right, so I want to kind of push it up, do a slight rotation. This is for the head. I think there will be a few more neck joints that is created as well later. So you just anticipate, like let's say if you put a distance between these two, there will be maybe like 3 or 4 more joints in between. So it can get quite compact. Right, okay, so the head is kind of slightly tilted up, so I need to position that. And this is for the jaw, so that when the mouth opens, it goes like that, right? So I want to kind of position this around the tip of the chin, and then this is where the jaw is, right? And if it's better, I think I should look at the other side of the view, so the left view maybe, because this side there's just too much biomass. So like around here where the ear is, and then slightly further down, that's the jaw position, and then this is the tip of the chin. These are for the eyeballs, so the eyeballs will only come later, so I'm not too concerned as well for now. The tip of the head will just be the highest point, like you just grab the cranium, like this arch that is forming the cranium, just pick the highest point. I think that's it. Okay, so once this is done, usually I might want to undo to come back to this state. So what I'll do is I'll also save a version for this. I call this like a base rig. Right, so let's say if I'm not happy after generation and I want to fall back to this state, I can just load up that Maya file without having to undo. In the past with Advanced Skeleton, when you undo, it forms kind of, it becomes quite buggy. So I've kind of grown this habit to save a version so that I can fall back to. I'm unsure if the current version it's okay. I'm using 6.8, I think, not Unreal, but Advanced Skeleton version 6.8. Okay, so once this is in, we have the biped, right? We basically hit this and imported this base rig, and then we position it to the respective position. Auto orient. I think we can go straight to build Advanced Skeleton, right? So this is the magic. And these are the kind of parts where if we're doing a succinct video, you probably wouldn't catch this part, because this technically isn't me working. Both my hands are free. It's just Advanced Skeleton doing its work, and I will usually cut this out in my video. So right now it's kind of nice to see it in action. Okay, I can see that the shoulder bone is too far forward. Like I would like it to be slightly back. Mainly if we see, let's say this circular ring, which is the control for the shoulder, I would like the whole ring to be visible even further towards the back. Even though the shoulder is quite wide, I would like it to be slightly further back. So that's one of the issues we need to fix. I'm mini checking positioning of the bones just to see if we've captured all of them. This looks kind of funky, but should be fine. Let's check the fingers. There's a missing curve. Oh, it's right below. So that means this bone here is also slightly too low. So there's 2 things that we need to fix as well. So this bone should be slightly higher. If we look at this view, it should be pushed out slightly so that we can see that control, that blue ring around it. The rest looks kind of okay. Elbow looks fine. Spine looks okay. Now this is the neck bone I was saying, right? There will be like a couple of joints that was added from the first neck bone to the hip. So this is that section. Usually there's also a couple of controls that come up Same for the jawbone. Let's check if the position is okay. These are the clavicles. So I think this positioning we need to refine later when we are doing skin reading, because then we will be able to tell if all these are moving correctly. Yep, so overall I think the clavicle bone, sorry, the shoulder bone needs to be pushed back slightly, and then this bone here needs to be pushed up slightly. So I'm gonna hit Ctrl Z until we go back to the pre-built version, like that, yes. And then push this up and use the D on the keyboard so that you only translate that particular bone in isolation. It doesn't affect its children. And then this one, we said that it has to go slightly further back. Right, so it needs to be somewhere here. Okay. And this is anatomically correct, right? Where the shoulder bone rotates, the clavicle bone rotates forward, and there's a lot of stretching on the shoulder, the back of the shoulder, basically the scapula, right? The shoulder blades. But this requires a bit of additional bones, maybe to hold the shape. I need to add those bones as well. Okay, so we are just gonna hit rebuild advanced skeleton. There is this toggle fit, right? So this is a newly added tool where it allows you to go back to this state and then hit again. Yeah, no, just hit once. I think you will come back to this state, and then once you're happy, which is where we are now, we're gonna hit rebuild, and then it's gonna do its magic again. Okay, and everything that I'm doing now is kind of approximation, right? I don't really know if it's working or not, so we need to test it as soon as possible, and that comes with skinning, right? So we need the deformation joint and the bone, and the skin, and then we'll hit set smooth, right? This is not a tool in advanced skeleton. In fact, if you go to rigging, skin, and then bind skin, this is the same thing. This tool does the same thing. It's just that it's a shortcut for you instead of having to come inside here. So based on the selected joints, I want to have the skinning happen on my closest joint, closest distance, and I'll hit apply. Let's see if it's done. So that means, yeah, it is done. Right, so over here I can maybe come and isolate the remaining geometries that because I only want to just see the body. I'll take the rest out, and I can now test and see if the rotation is okay. These are all pin weighting, so I'm not too concerned because we would be doing caging to transfer the pin weight. I'm more looking at if I rotate this, is it at the right pivot point? Right, that's where we are focusing on, and if it's not right, we need to go back and adjust the base skeleton. Yeah, it does seem okay for me. And then this is the part I'm saying, right? There's lots of rotation, and then the back part here is gonna stretch quite a fair bit. Usually when this happens, there is also the shoulder blade that kind of protrudes out, right? If you take a closer look at the human anatomy. Okay, so we have this ones. This looks okay. We also have one of this position here. If we can, maybe we should try animating the mauler later. But let's see how far the sessions go. Right, this is one of the controls, so I'm just scaling it out so that it's visible and I can select it and rotate it like that. The belly is kind of holding up pretty well, in my opinion. Let's test the leg. Yeah, couple of stretching there's here. Probably the caging will need to maintain that. This kind of things happening, definitely caging would help. So we just want to maintain the weight and say this part here, let's not get influenced by the knee rotation, right? So it will maintain its volume. But overall position wise, again, I'm checking on rotation, right? It does look correct, like it's kind of rotating around here. So you can imagine the mauler, it's kind of like doing like pretty heavy and walking and dragging itself. So all these are kind of okay. Let's take a look at the fingers. Spread, right? Cup, yes. Index, middle. Just seeing if there's any skin stretching. Positioning of the bones. Right, and then there's one here which is for you to kind of pull this out. And then the wrist joint looks kind of okay. Yeah, logical. Yes, the hip bone. Yeah, again, this deformation is not supposed to happen, right? Because it's kind of affected by other bones right now. So once we do the caging, it's gonna maintain that weight. This is also one control that's been meeting, sorry. Control. Let's turn off selecting the bones so we don't grab the bones. Right, and this is also one of the controls that we can play with for the neck. Right. Just kind of looking down. Again, the volumes are not maintained, so yeah, I should bring in the teeth as well from ZBrush. Yep, okay. So overall, I think the rig is holding up pretty well. The positionings are okay, even though I think there is always room for refinements. Let's move on to the biomasses. So these biomasses are something that initially I wanted it to just be parented to bones, right? Meaning it has no deformation. But I later realized if they don't do any kind of deformation like a soft skin like the bind skin that we're doing right now, as the body is deforming, this will start clipping into the body, so it doesn't quite make sense. So I created each individual lumps for the gameplay need at those locations, and we can always flip it to the other side, right? So let's say if I need the same lump but on the left of the character, I can always punch in like -1, and it should be able to deform as a separate piece from there. But for now, again, I think this should already be enough for my testing, so I'm just going to maintain that. So the next part, we need to select the deformation joint, and then we need to skin all these biomasses as well. Right, I think I've grabbed all of them, and then I'm going to do a smooth bind, apply. Right, so when I am moving now, it should move the biomasses, right? So this is the part I'm saying, like it has to kind of deform together with the body. If not, it doesn't quite make sense. It can't just be parented to a bone and doesn't deform. When the arm is moving like that, then you will see like a biomass sticking out because it doesn't deform. So it was more of an afterthought. Thankfully, I haven't really invested much in it, and I realized it. Right, like this, right? That the biomass needs to kind of move together. Okay, so the next part is to do the caging. So the cage here, it's to create a cage, right? Once we create a cage, you will see that it does quite a fair bit of work. It's basically creating this cage or mesh that is surrounding the character, and it's basically telling how much pin weight you want to transfer to the geometry that is around it. So like over here, if I want to have this, for example, and you just have to do it on the one side, right? So let's say this is the character's right. I can always say right to left, and it's gonna mimic that and pass that over. Can you see it again? Right to left, it's gonna transfer whatever I change here, so I don't have to do it twice. The rate controls, if you click on these ones, these are the ones that gives you that clamping, right? So if I push this down closer to each other, it's gonna hold the volume where the knee bends, right? So this caging will be very, very helpful. You're free to scale in any direction you want, and it's basically to encompass the geometry as much as you can. Right, so like for these parts, there is a certain point in time where doing too much is too much. So you have to test. I would always go with like doing the minimum, not enough, then we'll do another pass, right? But the main intent now is to encompass the geometry as much as you can. Like over here as well, I would say like these biomasses are quite a huge volume, and they're usually already quite tricky to skin and to paint with, so they will need finessing. So something like that. The rate controls are parented under the green ones. So if I move the green ones, the red ones to also scale, which is why there was a double transformation just now, because I scaled both at the same time. The parent and the children were scaling. Okay, so this one here, yeah, it's something like that, right? Kind of trying to encompass the body as much as we can. And over here, when we are pulling this weight controls out, it's telling like the rib cage area to not be affected by the shoulder. So we can do that test later too. We can see that the front part of the body isn't really quite covered. So we want to pull that out. Same for the huge belly. We want to maybe pull this out. Rotate this slightly. Make sure those are captured. And then, do we have a control in the middle? No, this is about it. Okay, let's do a transfer of right to left. So then this is our transferred. And then let's take a look at the arms. Just pull this forward. This one will need quite a huge volume. Right, and this is going to help with the clamping as well, where it's clearly like anything that is on the arm, take control. Anything that is on the rib cage, don't take control. Leave it to the rib cage cage. This one, if you're grabbing the meshes, you can always turn this off, right? Like the bones, the controls, you don't really want to grab them. We need to grab the cuffs, so we need to bring that back. Okay, let's just do a quick test and see how things are. Wait, I am missing this part. This stage here is as abstract as it is technical. So there is no hard and fast rule. It requires a lot of testing, a lot of playing around with the tool, knowing its limits. And then iterating, and then every character has its own uniqueness, so there is no one-size-fits-all solution. It's all about testing, so do cater time for your project to figure this out. Over here, this is to say like I want to have this cage be influencing the entire head. So don't leave any kind of vertices to other bones. I want to grab all of them. This should remove the scaling, the kind of deforming issue that we were facing earlier. Okay, I'm going to do a right to left again to transfer all the cage that we did over here. This is still not as convincing as I would want it to, so let's see if we could take that. These are the red ones, green ones. And see, maybe we could kind of bring that down, scale this up. Right, there should be at least a gentle flow between like how the cage goes up. So if you see, like just now we almost have a perpendicular transition, that usually doesn't work well. So I'm just trying to kind of taper it off so it flows up. Another right to left. Okay, and then we want to copy weights. So let's do a copy weights. And then let's hide the gauges. And now when we do the animation test again, you can see that wait, hasn't it be transferred? Information weights. Select the objects, yeah, so I didn't select the object. So when you select the skin, then that's where the weights are transferred into. So I will copy objects to deform, then hit copy weight, so it will be transferred into, which is why we didn't see any change in result. So I'm gonna pick this guys, and I also want to grab those weights too, right, and do copy weights. Okay, so now let's hide this ones. I was expecting for the knee joint to work already. Yeah, like that, right? So we don't have any kind of very bad deformation. Right now this is bad because it's pretty harsh, but it doesn't have that kind of bend in where volumes are missing, right? So this is a much easier fix than earlier. I can also see that the influence has grabbed the neighboring biomass, so we need to fix that too. that's where I was saying that it requires a bit of testing, right? This looks okay. Actually, this ones we will need to add we need to pull the cage closer. Okay, let's go back again. Right, this one's it was influencing the biomass too much. Maybe this one I don't want to do a left to right because the controls are asymmetrical. Right, but I think I'm gonna lose this change when I do a right to left later. What do I want to change? Yeah, this one's. Yeah, I'm gonna lose because we are gonna go the right to left again later, so that I don't have to redo that side. Anywhere else? I think here. We didn't test that earlier. This one too. Okay, so let's do a right to left, and then scale this up. Right, something like that. And then after that, grab the geometries and then copy widths. Okay, I think that's done. So let's do another test. Let's turn off all the controls and the cage. Do a test. Yeah, that part is gone, but we are seeing problems here too, right? That requires fixing. But this one here, as you can see, because the cage is encompassing the volumes that is within, then it no longer stretches at this point. So that's where the finessing comes, right? Like this one here, we know. But let's do more testing. In the past, we have to go in and pinpoint like every single bone, and then it's really not an enjoyable process. Like, yeah, this one here, it's maintaining the volume, right? The biceps doesn't get collapsed, and then the forearms also maintain its volume. So that's good. Nice. There's a bit of bend here, so I would like to pull the ridge, the rib cage in. Yes. Like that. Right, it doesn't bend upwards, it bends downwards more. So yeah, I'm just trying to maintain that. So let's not like fix this one. I was just trying to demo and to show you that by encompassing the lumps, the biomasses, it will fix the issue. But for now, let's stop doing that because every time when we hit a right to left, we lose this work. So we should avoid doing that. Over here, I now see why that we have been having that issue because the cages are overlapping each other. So the right is affecting the left is affecting the right. So let's go right to left. That should fix the issue. And then this one, let's ignore it. And then we will do another round of copy weights. I think all of them except for the one on the sheen. And copy weights. Okay, I'm gonna hide that. 5. Let's do a test again. Right, it's holding the volume much better. Right, there is no kind of like a bend like earlier. Right, so this looks great. And then the top part, we barely have our wrist go that high. So I'm not concerned with this. This is almost like a broken wrist already. So it's maybe at most like that. But the downward one, it's very common. So we want to make sure that looks good. This one's I think mostly okay. We fixed this control earlier. The elbow looks okay as well, right? And then the shoulder looks fine. Okay, there is that lats, right? Its latissimus dorsi is pushed in, so we want to kind of make sure that cage doesn't overlap the area. We'll fix that later, like this portion here. Let's take a look at the overall bend, chest. Yeah, we might want to kind of encompass more of this as well. Right? If not, then we're getting quite a fair bit of stretching. This is okay, but I think it's this one here that is the problem. We also don't have this control that visible, so I want to scale that up and make it more visible. Same for this one. F8. It's all hidden inside the biomasses, so I want to push this up. Right, that way as an animator, I think it will be more conducive to animate too. Okay, pretty happy. The head, I don't think it's deforming that much now. Right, we have the neck that is kind of stretching, which is fine, but the overall skull, jaw, and head area doesn't get pulled away like it did before, like this, right? This is not good. So we need to work out that. I would say right now the only influence is coming from the neck, so we need to clean up that cage over there. Right, let's do them. I think the item is getting too long. Do we have... This is still considered the neck. So this one, this is the head. So that means we need to pull this down and make sure the entire head cage it's encompassing the head only, and then the rest it's encompassing the neck area. Right, like that. So I think this is the neck. Neck. Is this the head? Yeah, that's the head, sorry. Here, I want the lower jaw to be completely encompassed by the head bone. It's also slightly slanted, as you can see, so we can also match that. What else? Try to grab this, push this slightly forward. We had issues with the rib cage, right? That's the part that I think was the most outstanding. So like I think the cage here is influencing parts of the latissimus dorsi. So I'm just gonna pull this out. Right, this is the shoulder cage, and we can do that transition from here. I'm gonna do it right to left so it's transferred over to that side. I do recall... Oh, we haven't tested this yet. Okay, so now let's again turn everything off. I think the test earlier was mostly working, except for a few here and there, the bigger items. So I'm gonna do a copy weight. Should be done, and then we can... Yeah, I think this spine I recall now wasn't deforming quite well. So let's fix one thing at a time. My memory isn't great. Okay, so this is not encompassing the biomass. It's still grabbing a bit of the latissimus dorsi. It's losing a bit of control over here, the armpit area, right? So I want to make sure that's also fixed. Okay. That's the chest cage overlapping with the upper arm a bit too much. Lots of finessing, as you can see. Okay, and then let's test it again. Let's do I did a change on the left, so I want to do a left to right now. And then copy weights. Okay, and then let's do a bend. Much better. Nice. Just small tweaks here and there. Right, it's grabbing a bit of the biomass as well. But let's perfect this one for now. I believe it's coming from this guy. So if I were to pull this out slightly, we should get a better transition. Copy weights. Nice, yeah, that pinching is now gone. Let's also apply the weights here. Let's also check this side. I think now we can tackle a bit of the asymmetry because the biomasses are not technically symmetrical, right? So we can have a bit of this fixes coming in. Just preaching and holding to my own preach. We shouldn't be too perfect, right? So I think by end of this pass, I want to start animating. And we can test the overall. Wait, I still recall this requires fixing. So let me retry to encompass this a lot more. Are we losing the volumes at the back? Yeah, we are. It's quite a massive guy, so it's not surprising that the cage are this thick. It's designed as a tank anyway, so it's supposed to be beefier. Okay, and let's do again all the copy weights. Hide them. And do another last round of testing. Yeah, I'm not too happy, but I think we need to put a stop. If not, it will be forever, and then we end up doing something that is perfect but not exactly tested yet. Yeah. I would like to at least get to a place where we have enough to animate. Like this ones here can be quite distracting when I'm animating, so I wanna maybe fix those. Yeah, we are no longer grabbing the opposite geometry. If you recall, we were grabbing the opposite tie. We will also be going to Marvelous Designer to do the clothings, right? But right now he's unfortunately gonna be naked. These biomasses aren't exactly falling, but not a big problem. I think the bigger ones was, I think this side. The clavicle bone needs a bit more love, actually. I need to figure out which cage is controlling that. Yeah, it's not exactly deforming already. So let's take a look at that. We can turn off the cage. Neck, chest, yes. Is it this one? This is the neck. Shoulder. I don't think there's a clavicle cage, but maybe we need to use these ones. These ones here. Let's try to cover as much. Shoulder start profile. Okay, copy weights. Copy weights. And then let's test. I think it was the clavicle that was the issue. Yeah, parts of the bones are not, the skins are not following. Okay. Anyways, I would want to split this into a separate session and then we'll do an animation later. We're at 49 minutes mark anyways. It's our usual streaming length. So right now, as you can see, we've done quite a fair bit of rigging for the mauler. The next part is to for me to just clean up some of those pieces that I'll need more time digging into. And then thereafter we can start animating and I'll start another stream for the animation part. I'll see you again. Bye. Thanks.